Three fantastic and very different presentations, and I hope that's illuminated some of today's conversations. We have about 10 minutes before we're due to go on to the next item on the agenda. So if anybody has any questions for any member of our panel, or any observations, any things they want to throw in, I can see a hand up there straight away. I've got that one. Let's be hearing it.
Thank you very much. I'm Julian Amy Rice, TD. And first of all, may I add my congratulations to the three speakers for very thought-provoking presentations. And my question is really to Felicity, but I also have a comment. Felicity, you talked to, I think it was actually Sue who talked about the landscape of difficult times and the threats that we're faced with funding. The one thing that I saw in recent reports was something about apprenticeships, and we might just be able to find an opportunity, largely for engineers, I think, but there could be something for the dance community there. My comment really is more to do with what we at ISTD regard as a fundamental principle, which is about partnership. And I think in this landscape of difficult times, we want to work in partnership with everybody here. We already work very closely with Youth Dance England, Arts Council, and all the other organisations present here today, but we want to do more of it. And I think that's, if you like, an explanation I'd like to give to everybody today. Come and see us. We want to be partners with you. Thank you very much. So the question is to Felicity.
What was the question?
It was about, is this funding for apprenticeships anything that we can get involved with the dance community?
Oh, right. Thank you. I realised I didn't sort of say a huge amount about apprenticeships that we've got involved with so far. We've got 7 or 8 apprenticeship lines or frameworks, and they're quite focused on backstage roles, as some of you might know, and front of house venue management, community arts management. There's also some around design. We hope with new NOS we might be able to have apprenticeships now in craft and in jewellery specifically Helen is working on. Broadly, the answer is yes to the point about is there opportunity to develop more apprenticeship frameworks? Yes, there are. There is opportunity. It looks as though the government is going to, in fact, all the parties want more apprenticeships, and the people in power at the moment have, I think, it looks as though they're going to put quite a lot of funding that was in the poor old Train to Gain pot, might move into the apprenticeship pot. So, I mean, broadly, the answer is yes. Exactly what that would be in dance, we would need to hear from you and from employers what they felt was needed, and the national occupational standards would need to be there and the qualifications would need to be there. But yes, we're open to developing new frameworks, not necessarily instantly because we don't have the capacity to do that, but in the medium term, yes.
Thank you.
Suzanne?
Suzanne Burns. It's a comment, first of all, and then a very specific question to you, Felicity. Hearing from Kate in relation to the burgeoning areas around urban dance and needs and requirements of that field, it just reminded me of how big this field is in terms of those that are teaching dance practice, which is where my specific question comes in. In relation to the Performing Arts Blueprint, Felicity, you referred to 6,400, I think it was 6,400 people working in dance and choreography. I'm curious as to whether that number actually includes those that are teaching dance or not, because there's a distinct difference between that and the estimates through the dance mapping work, between 30,000 and 35,000. And we know that there are 16,000 teaching in the private dance sector. So I'm kind of curious about the numbers here.
I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't want to sit here and say that I know the answer to that because, the research manager and the people who do the research do that. So I will take back that question. I mean, if your numbers are so much bigger, then I think the answer, it sounds to me as though the answer is that it doesn't. But the way we will get the figures would be around the way the questionnaire is put together and whether I don't exactly know the wording. But can I come back to you on that?
The reason I think it's important is that we're talking about here today, we're talking about the development of national occupational standards for teaching, primarily. And if the performing arts blueprint isn't actually giving the numbers of people that are engaged in the teaching of dance, then there's clearly a big discrepancy. What we have is a massive field of people teaching, and that needs to be recognised in its broadest sense.
One of the sort of difficulties for sector skills councils is the way all these occupations are actually classified. So there's another sector skills council called Lifelong Learning UK, which is the one for education and teaching. So, and we're the one for the creative and cultural sector. So you can see in just what I'm saying that in these blurred areas, it's quite difficult to get accurate information. So we have just actually been given a new set of codes, they're called Standard Occupational Codes, for cultural educators, because Lifelong Learning UK didn't want them anymore, so we got them. So we've had quite a lot of discussion about what exactly is a cultural educator, but usually these codes would be the primary occupation that people say they are. So you have to say whether you're a dancer, or a different code would be being a teacher, which isn't much help to you, but that's how it works, I'm afraid. But I mean, I can easily go back and see how those, you could take it in any area. I mean, you could say if you were a painter, but quite a lot of the time you worked in the FE sector, for example, teaching, do you define yourself as a teacher or do you define yourself as an artist? It's not unique to dance by any means.
Well, can I just grab the microphone?
Yeah.
Can I, having just grabbed the microphone, can I just say thank you very much to all three of our speakers. I hope it was great of you to come, and thank you very much for your contributions, and I hope people found it worthwhile and informative and enjoyable.